gonna swing on me? Yeah, won't dance too fun. Okay, he gonna swing on me? I ain't did nothing to that man, bro.
Atlanta's nightlife reached another level of chaos last night when things almost turned ugly at one of the city's most popular clubs. Kirk Frost and young Jock had a tense face-off with Lil Scrappy. What started off as quiet tension slowly boiled over into something much more serious. The music was shaking the whole place, bass thumping so loud you could feel it in your chest. Lights flashed everywhere, cutting through clouds of cologne and expensive perfume. People were dancing, drinking.
I just had to cool off, right? Just get my mind right, man, you know. But I really gotta get this off my chest, man. Cameras and all that.
And dressed like they had something to prove. The energy was high, the vibe electric, the kind of night that reminds everyone why Atlanta is known for its club scene. Kirk and Jock showed up dressed sharp, wearing designer clothes and dripping in jewelry. They walked in like they owned the place, heads high, surrounded by their usual group. But something felt off. If you were watching closely, you'd notice Kirk's smile didn't seem real, and Jock's laugh had an edge to it that made things feel uneasy. They sat in VIP, but their attention wasn't really on their drinks or the people around them. Their eyes kept drifting across the room. That's where Lil Scrappy was posted up, his usual confident self. He was holding court in his own VIP area, laughing, dancing, and keeping the mood light with his crew. People kept coming up to greet him, and he welcomed every one of them with that charm fans love him for. He looked totally at ease, like he didn't have a care in the world. But Kirk and Jock, they weren't just chilling. They kept glancing over at Scrappy, whispering to each other, watching. Even the waitress dropping off their drinks noticed something weird going on. She handed them the bottles and left quick, picking up on the tension in the air. Meanwhile, Scrappy made his way to the dance floor. He clinked glasses with fans, nodded at people he knew, and kept the same upbeat vibe going. If he was aware of the way Kirk and Jock were eyeing him, he didn't let it show. You see what I'm saying? Jock leaned over to Kirk, just loud, enough to be heard over the music. Kirk nodded slowly, eyes still locked on Scrappy. Yeah, I see it. There's more to this than what meets the eye. These three guys have crossed paths for years in the music and club scene. On the surface, everything always looked cool. They smiled for cameras, dabbed each other up at events. But behind the scenes, people who really know them say there's been tension for a long time. Scrappy's rise in popularity, his bold personality, and the way he speaks his mind has earned him a loyal fan base. But it's also rubbed some people the wrong way. That's when Kirk and Jock stood up and started moving through the dance floor that headed straight for Scrappy. People around them noticed instantly. The dance floor, once packed, opened up just enough for them to pass. Everyone could feel something was about to go down. Scrappy was still vibing when he finally saw them coming his way. By then, it was too late to play it cool. The music kept blasting, but the energy in that part of the club shifted fast. Kirk stopped a few feet from Scrappy, hands in his pockets. Jock moved in closer, eyes locked in. "What's going on, fellas?" Scrappy asked, trying to sound casual but clearly alert. His crew caught the shift too. A couple of them stood up, ready for whatever was about to happen. Kirk didn't answer right away. He looked Scrappy up and down before finally speaking. "You've been talking," he said flatly. "Starting drama. You know what I'm talking about." Scrappy's grip tightened around his drink. "I don't know what you're talking about," he replied. But there was a crack in his voice, just enough to show he wasn't as calm as he wanted to seem. He shot a glance at his crew, who were now on full standby, then turned back to Kirk and Jock. "Oh, we got something to say," he snapped. "And if you've got any sense, you'll shut up and listen." Scrappy didn't flinch. "Oh yeah? Like, what?" He fired back, his other hand balling into a fist as he stepped forward too. Now they were practically face to face. People around them started backing off, while others leaned in, too nosy to look away. The whole mood in that section of the club shifted. The music was still loud.
Oh, let me go. Look at me, look at me. Oh, let me go. Look at me, look at me. Get on.
Man, I am frustrated, irritated, man.
But nobody in that circle was paying attention to it anymore. All eyes were on the three men. Scrappy's crew looked nervous now. Some were standing, others stayed near the booth, trying to figure out if they needed to step in. The air was thick, like something was about to pop off. "You know exactly what this is about," Jock said, pointing a finger at Scrappy. "You've been out here running your mouth, telling lies. You really think you can talk trash and not answer for it?" Kirk added. Scrappy raised his chin, not backing down an inch. "If I've got something to say, I'll say it. But don't come at me with this weak stuff unless you've actually got proof." Kirk stepped up, his face like stone. "We've got more than just words, Scrappy. We've got proof," he said, pulling out his phone and unlocking it quickly. He held up the screen for everyone to see. Whatever was on it hit hard. Scrappy's jaw tightened, his confidence slipping for a split second. "So what? You're gonna show me some messages out of context? That's your big move?" Scrappy replied, trying to sound unfazed. But there was a small shake in his voice and it didn't go unnoticed. Jock moved in beside Kirk, shoulder to shoulder. "This isn't out of context," he said firmly. "You've been playing both sides, telling us one thing and turning around saying something else to other people. Time to stop pretending before things get worse." Scrappy's frustration boiled over. He squared his stance and stared them down. "You really think you can come in here and press me like that? Who do you think you are?" he snapped. Kirk didn't back off. He stepped into Scrappy's space, his voice low and sharp. "Keep running your mouth and find out what happens," he warned. Scrappy stood his ground even though his heart was racing. "You don't scare me," he said, voice steady. "You never have." Everything froze for a second. It felt like it could explode any moment. Jock's fists were clenched. Kirk's glare was sharp, and Scrappy's crew started moving in, ready to back him up. The music in the club faded into the background. Everyone nearby held their breath, waiting for the first punch. Then a security guard stepped in. "All right, that's enough," he said, putting a hand on Kirk's shoulder and gently pushing him back. "Take this outside or chill out." Kirk kept staring at Scrappy, but didn't resist. Jock loosened up a little, but his eyes stayed alert. Scrappy took a slow breath, trying to bring his nerves down. The guard motioned toward Kirk and Jock's VIP booth. "I don't care who you are. This isn't the place for that," he said, firm and direct. Kirk finally nodded, sliding his phone back into his pocket. "We'll finish this another time," he said quietly, then turned with Jock and walked back toward their section. Scrappy stayed put for a moment, still breathing heavily. His crew gathered around. "You good, man?" one of them asked. "Yeah," Scrappy replied, but the tension in his voice said otherwise. He took a slow sip from his glass and moved toward his booth. "They're just all talk. They always have been." Still, as he sat down, a feeling crept in. This wasn't over. The air in the club felt heavy. Kirk and Jock weren't laughing or drinking anymore. They just sat there, eyes flicking over to Scrappy every now and then. Something had shifted. Scrappy tried to shake it off, but his people could tell. It rattled him. Not fear exactly, but he knew this wasn't finished. News spread fast. What started as a face-off became the main event of the night. People in the club started retelling the story with extra drama. One woman swore they were seconds away from throwing hands. A guy at the bar said Scrappy stood strong like a champ. Someone caught a blurry video from across the room and posted. It didn't show much.
I have nobody if y'all ain't with me. I don't have nobody.
I'm with you. Like,
All that talking, cuz I need y'all to show me, cuz, for real.
Just Kirk and Jock facing off with Scrappy, but it was enough. Within minutes, social media blew up. Hashtags popped up like wildfire. Kirk via Scrappy. Jock got receipts. Club Drama Kirk saw the trending posts and scrolled through the comments, getting more irritated. "They're acting like we're the villains," he said to Jock. "Like we started this mess." Jock shook his head. "People just like the noise. But maybe it's time we give them the real story." Kirk nodded, his jaw set. "Yeah. We've got to deal with this." "Of the club?" Scrappy forced a smile, but his eyes didn't match. "Yeah, maybe, but let's not pretend this is over," he muttered, glancing back at Kirk and Jock. "You see them sitting there? They're not done. Not even close." The night slowly rolled on, the energy never quite settling. Eventually, Kirk and Jock got up to leave. No dramatic exits, no last words, just a simple nod toward the door and they walked out. Scrappy watched them go, jaw clenched. "They really think they can just walk out like that and come for me another time?" he said under his breath. Outside, the chill in the air did nothing to ease the pressure from inside the club. Kirk and Jock didn't say much. They moved past the small groups lingering outside, got in their car and drove off, the glow of their phone screens lighting their faces. After a long, quiet moment, Kirk finally broke the silence. "You know what we need to do?" Jock looked over and nodded slowly. He didn't need to ask. They both already knew. The club confrontation was over. For now. But what came next? That's where the real battle would begin.